Hello, we wanted to record this video to show you what we are actually looking for in the file to make sure that it is print ready and what we need to do to set it up. First, what we do is after we open your file, just so that we can have a clear view of everything, we make sure we turn the guides off. And what I need you to do when you're looking at your files is to make sure you have your separations preview window open and your color palette and swatches. So these three windows minimum are extremely important for the following reasons, which you will see. And you can find them under window, and that would be separations preview, color, and swatches. So after you have those windows open, the importance of the separations preview window will allow you to actually see what colors are in the actual files, which is what we charge for. So inside swatches, we go in and we say select all unused so that we can make sure only the colors that we see are in the file. This one I've already cleaned up. So that's telling me that there is a separation of 144U as well as Pantone Process Blue U. Our understanding is that you are actually printing on coated paper and the swatches and the files are uncoated. There is a problem with this simply because there are two different swatch booklets, and that would be found under Window, and you will go to Swatch Libraries. And you actually want to make sure that you have the correct color book. So you're going to Color Books. And there is a Pantone Plus solid coated book that you'll want to use. Mine just has a V3 because we have different ones, but you want to make sure you have the recent Pantone Plus solid coated book. You want to use this book because your material is coated and the swatches that you are using are uncoated. The difference is with uncoated paper, the ink gets soaked into the actual material versus sitting on top with coated paper. So the color actually does look different. So I'm going to pull up Pantone Process Blue. And if I were to show you with swatches, this is the coated. And I'll do them with the uncoated. And when you take them and you make process versions, you will see this is your coated version, 134.7. This is your uncoated, 93.37.2. So it's very important that you use the correct Pantone swatch booklet, which will be the Pantone coated. So your Pantone Plus coated, solid coated swatch book is what you want to use. You don't want to use the process version. You don't want to use the uncoated version. You want to use the Pantone Plus solid coated book from Illustrator for all of your swatches. So that's something we have to go into every single file and change every time when it has the wrong color. So you want to make sure that you're using the correct swatch. The other reason why the separations palette is important after we've cleared everything out from the swatches that is not being used, which this would be how it would go, select all unused. It would select those two since they're not used, and you would say yes, delete the swatch. After you click the trash can, click yes. So now you know that this is the only swatch in the actual file, and then we just check our separations. So your uncoated is still there. I didn't change it for the purposes of the video. And now it looks like I just have black. So I'm going to turn off my black just to see if that's what it is. This little rectangle in every single file is actually CMYK. And that's not the way you want that to print, because if you were to go flexo, this would have to be changed. So on all the files, this rectangle needs to be black only. and you can see when we turn off the black, it's no longer there. Some files have CMYK images and other images are black only. We just leave it as it is. The next thing that we check is the document raster effect settings. This particular setting has to do with your drop shadow here. So I'm going to zoom in so that you can see what that does. At 72, what that means is 72 dpi, just like for monitors, is fine, but we're printing, and at a minimum, you want 300 dpi. As you can see, this little drop shadow comes out to here, and you can see the squares. Once we go into Effect, Document Raster Effect Settings, we check it, and it does say 72. As you can see, the description says Screen. So all of your effects that you apply to an image in this particular document is only going to be at 72 dpi. Once we change it to 300, which is the minimum resolution for printing, and we hit OK, you will see that the actual squares and the distance in which this gradient spreads out will shrink because the resolution will be higher. So now you see that it's finer and it looks better, and this is because we've changed the document raster effects to 300. This also has to be done to each and every single item we get so that you have nicer gradients when printing. So this is just one file in which how we treat your files. Then we also have to come in here and add your die line and your crop mark, which is fine. But with all the other stuff that we're having to do, it's adding up to a bunch of time to change things, and we're always getting replacement files, so then we have to change them every single time we get a file. So I want to go to your next file, and I'm going to clear your guides, and I'm going to check my separations. Turn off the black, and this one still has this box. That is CMYK, so we have to make it black only. And I will make sure that that box is processed because I don't see a spot, so we know that it is. So I have some files that are spot, some files that are processed, and this image is still CMYK, and I can already see from the drop shadow, the document raster effects are, once again, 72, need to be changed to 300. So we have to change that. If I go to, I should have another one here. There's 3 of them. Excuse me. Okay, in this particular file, oh, I've already turned off the guides. I'm going to check my blacks. I must have already did it. Yeah, I did. Okay. So in this file, starting at 0, the guides, turn them off, check my blacks. This text is for color, so we have to fix this. This box is also stroke is still processed. We have to fix this. That image I can tell is processed. I do not see a drop shadow on this file, on this image. And then I have rhodomine red, uncoated. So I would have to go in here again, choose rhodomine red, coated, and then I would have to change that color as well. Once again, those colors are going to have different builds because one is coated, one is uncoated. So this is your coated swatch. That's its breakdown. And then this is your uncoated swatch. And this is its breakdown. So 133.84.2, 496 and 8. So it is extremely important that we are using the correct swatch booklet so that you can always make sure that your color looks the way that you would like it to. And for color consistency, As you can see, this image is a 4-color process image, and it has a drop shadow, and that drop shadow is at 72 dpi, and that has to be changed. So we change that. So we would have change here. Let's go ahead and do that. Change your rhodomine red. See how it changes from uncoated to coated. Change that. We made your drop shadow image 300 dpi. Let's check your blacks. Your blacks are fine now, and then we would go ahead and put your dye line and all that on there. It is not essential to have your document set up with the 0.125 just because it creates an extra space. You can just make sure you bleed it off. If you need to do that for the 0.125 to make sure that you go to that edge, that is fine. I can handle that. But these other changes, because it gets sporadic with what's black and what's not black or rich black, and changing the raster effects and checking this and changing the colors, it just adds to a lot of time and actually just trying to get the file to be correct in order for us to set it up to be able to make your proof. If you could make sure these things are done on your files on your end, it would help when you send a revised file for everything to be consistent, because we're getting really confused as to what we're doing with the files. That would be extremely helpful for us so that we can get your proofs out faster to you. We would greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions, please make sure that you email your customer service rep so that they can forward the questions on to us, and we'll see how we can support you as best as possible. Thank you very much.